Come on, admit it. You want to be a millionaire, and to be fair, so do I. But what does it take to get to the prestigious 7 figures? Well, for most of us, unless if we win the lottery, we're going to get there through investing monthly in a stocks and shares ISA. Most of us do this already, but exactly how much do we need to invest, what returns do we need to aim for, and how long do we need to invest for? To solve this, we're going to break down all of the different routes that you can take to make it to $1 million, to see how realistic it actually is. But before we start, let's lay out the rules. What exactly do I mean by being a millionaire? Well, in a sense, there can be a few different definitions of a millionaire. We could talk about the total assets that you own. Your car, your house, and the cans of Carling in your fridge. This is of course quite a useful measure, because by definition, it is everything that you own. But for us, we're not going to count that, because those assets aren't necessarily earning anything for you. Alright, yeah. You could say that a house is an investment, because it is, but I want to focus on assets that are held within an investment portfolio. By this, I mean properties that aren't your home, investments within a stocks and shares ISA, or even a general investing account, and then even inside your crypto wallet. As investors, this is what we're going to live off. This is what's going to keep the money churning and bringing in the cheddar over time. For most of us, one of the end goals is retirement, otherwise known as being financially independent. This is where we get to the point where we wouldn't have to work anymore, because we could live off of our investments, which would be a nice option to have. So with that in mind, why £1 million? Well, first of all, why not? 7 figures is a pretty good milestone, and to be fair, it's got a nice ring to it. Who wouldn't want to be a millionaire? But also, if you do want to be a bit more technical about it, then you could link it back to the 4% rule, which I'm sure you've heard of. As a very brief summary, it means that you could live off of the investments within your portfolio for around 30 years if you had a withdrawal rate of around 4% per year. It does have quite a high success rate, especially if you're investing in 100% equities, which would be giving you the maximum expected returns. So if we had a £1 million investment portfolio, then we should be able to live off £25,000 per year, which sounds reasonable. When we're older, we should have fewer expenses, hopefully we have a mortgage that's being paid off, and we generally just have less reasons to spend money. So if you had £1 million invested, you could have this sort of infinite money glitch, as long as you live off only £25,000 per year. So I hope you can agree that £1 million is quite a nice target to aim for. But how are we going to get there? Well, as I mentioned before, for most of us, it's going to start by investing in a stocks and shares ISA. I know that most people know this, but I can't not explain it. So a stocks and shares ISA is a type of investing account where you get to invest up to £20,000 per year tax-free. You won't have to pay any tax on capital gains when you sell your investments, and you don't have to pay any dividends tax on any dividends that are paid out within the ISA. This is a key part in working towards $1 million, because when you finally do become a millionaire, you don't want to be paying tax on all that money. Trust me, if we protect our investments in an ISA, then the money will be completely ours, safe from tax. Right then. So what's it going to take? What do we need to do? Well, there are 3 huge factors that are going to play a role in getting us to $1 million. So let's start with the first one, saving, which is a big one because it's the only one that we have complete control of. If we don't save money, then we're not going to have any money to invest, and we're probably not going to get anything close to being a millionaire. Even if you're on a salary where you get 100k per month, it's not going to mean anything if your expenses are also 100k per month. The key thing to note for the saving stage is that most people get caught up on how much they earn. They don't think it's possible to become a millionaire if you're on a 25k salary. In this video, I hope that we can show you that this is not true. For this step, the key is to focus on what you spend. We have so much more control over what we spend than what we earn. The less that you spend, the more money you're going to save, and the more money you're going to have to invest. Then the faster you are going to become a millionaire. It's that simple. Now, of course, people live different lives, and I know that not everybody is so fortunate that they have complete control over what they spend their money on. But at the same time, I just want to show you that being a millionaire is more achievable than you think. Of course, we're all going to be saving different amounts, so when we do some calculations later, we'll make sure to do a few different savings values just so we can try and appeal to everyone. The second factor, which is quite a big one, is the annualized returns that we're going to earn over our investing lifetime. Now, the stock market is often misquoted to earn around 10% or even 8% per year. Unfortunately though, this is not realistic. When the returns are annualized and adjusted for inflation, the stock market has really returned around 7% per year, on average. But as we discussed last week, the future expected returns of the stock market over the next decade is closer to 6%. It's worth considering that returns are going to be different, depending on your asset allocation or even the type of portfolio that you're investing in. But for this example, we'll assume that we're invested in a 100% global equity portfolio. An example of this would be if you invested 100% into Vanguard's FTSE Global All Cap Index Fund, a simple all-in-one option. Now, we can't be certain of what future stock market returns are going to be, but we can have a good shot at it. It is definitely better to be on the safe side. So as a realistic expectation, let's say that we're going to earn 6% per year. It may sound low, I know, but if you fail to prepare, then prepare to fail. The third and final factor is the indefinite continued progress of existence and events in the past, present and future regarded as a whole, otherwise known as time. Do you know how long that took me to film? Now, this is the most important factor, by far. Of course, you're not going to get anywhere if you don't save money, and if you don't invest that money. But time is what is really going to accelerate your returns. And trust me, it gets pretty mad. We'll show you that later. The more time that you have, the more that your money is going to compound. Just think, in year one, if you had £1,000 invested, then 7% returns would be 70 quid. But in year 40, after you've been investing for that whole time, when you've got £1 million, 7% returns would be £70,000. It's massive. So now we know the three things that are going to make us a millionaire. Saving money, getting returns on that money, and then time. Now, this is where things do get a little more complicated, because the thing is, there's not just one route to becoming a millionaire. Luckily, we've helped ourselves out by fixing one of the variables. We've said that we're going to earn 6% per year. But of course, there are two other factors that can change. The amount of money that we're going to save every month, and then our investing time horizon. So we're going to have to run through a few different examples to show what it's going to take to become a stocks and shares ISA millionaire. To help us make these calculations, we're going to use the trusty old compound interest calculator. I'll leave a link to it in the description, and I recommend playing around with it because it is a lot of fun, if you're a weirdo like me. First up, let's control time. God, I feel like Doctor Who. Again, I'm going to be somewhat conservative, and by looking at my analytics, the average age of you lot is somewhere around 35. So let's say that you're 35 and you want to be a millionaire by retirement when you're 65, starting from scratch. So starting with £0, we have a 30-year investment horizon, earning 6% returns. Let's start off with say £500 a month, but that's only going to get us halfway there. So we'd have to up our contributions to £1,000 a month to become a millionaire in 30 years. It's worth noting that almost £640,000 of that is compound interest money alone. But look, I get it. £1,000 a month does sound pretty intimidating for a lot of people. So let's change some variables. We could change the returns that we're going to get, but that wouldn't be very sensible. So instead, let's change the time horizon. Let's add on, say, 10 years. So as a 35-year-old, you're going to carry on investing until you're 75. When we run the same numbers that we just did, but with a 40-year investment horizon, we end up with nearly £2 million. You see, the effect of time is mental. This means that we can lower our monthly deposits to £500 a month, and we're still going to become a millionaire. That sounds a whole lot more reasonable now, doesn't it? Just goes to show what a little patience will do for you. Now, if you are a bit older, then I'm sorry, but you're going to have to close your ears right now. If you're lucky enough to be under 25, like me, then we have good news for you. Time is on our side. The earlier that we start investing, the more time our money has to compound. We can shift back the 40-year time frame that we were just talking about whilst investing £500 a month. But if we start at 25, then we'll become a millionaire by 65. If £500 a month sounds like a lot to you, and trust me, it sounds like a lot to me too, then don't worry. Remember, you don't have to be investing all of that money straight away. When we get older, we'll hopefully earn more money. And we could even share our lives with a partner, which could double our income without necessarily doubling our expenses. Plus, if you're saving money in a pension, then this can count towards your investments too. Whilst we're on that topic, I'd definitely say that it's worth checking what your pension is actually invested in to make sure that your asset allocation meets your investing needs. Of course, the earlier that we invest more money, the better. But at the same time, don't worry if you can't be investing all of that money now. If you're investing at the age of 25, then you're ahead of most people. But luckily, we have time on our side. So we could continue investing through to 75 and have a 50-year investing horizon. That same £500 a month that we just talked about would take you to 1.9 million, meaning that we'd only have to invest £265 a month to reach our target. £265 a month to become a millionaire. Now that is doable. Some people pay hundreds of pounds a month on cars, TV packages or subscriptions, which are quite simply luxuries of life. If we can refrain from spending our money on stuff that we don't actually need and save and invest £265 a month, we could become millionaires. Now, we can increase our expectations a little further and it will make things easier. Let's say that we're going to get 7% returns per year. For a 40-year investment horizon, £381 a month will do it for us. For a 50-year investment horizon, £181 per month will do it for us. Now that's it, I promise. The random number juggling is over, because I'm sure you get the point by now. Becoming a millionaire is not as distant as some people may think that it is. In most cases, we can either compromise the returns that we're going to get, the amount that we save, or our investment horizon, and still get there. It's also a good idea to stress test these results. See if you can still make it at 6% per year, or 5% per year, because at the end of the day, we never know what's going to happen in the future. Now, we do spend a lot of time talking about money on this channel, whether it's general investing topics, fund reviews, or portfolio construction. But at the end of the day, it can all be boiled down to 3 things: saving money, investing in the stock market, and staying invested for as long as possible. It is the mastery of these 3 things that are really going to make you successful. Without them, the details in between really don't matter. This is the true path to becoming a millionaire. I'll see you at 7 figures.